All right, everyone, we are live. Welcome to another episode of the J All Day Show. We are live 3 days before the NFL draft, guys. I am exceptionally excited for the draft this year, guys. We're getting there, man. So what I'm going to do in today's video is I want to do a mock draft, but I'm going to give you guys 3 potential players for each one of... So the chat is disabled for this live stream. I don't want to do that. Why is the chat disabled? So, but the chat is disabled. Yo, Fallen. There's the chat. Yo, what's up, buddy? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Chat is disabled for this live stream, but I see people chatting though, so I don't know why that's happening. What's up, Fallen? And nice, you can definitely you're able to add some chats, right? I have my other laptop up and I'm just checking it out because I want to be able to look and see. Oh, there we go. There is the chat. We're finally there, guys. Welcome to the live stream. Looks pretty good. I think it sounds a little bit better today, too. So that's always a plus, right? Always a plus, guys. So, yeah, we're going to go through this mock draft. I'm going to go through different scenarios in this draft. Go Birds! Christina Amaral, thank you for all your help. Yeah, I'm slowly figuring out this Streamlabs kind of situation, guys. Yeah, I'm hoping the Cowboys have a good draft, Fallen. I'm hoping they got a good draft in them. I hope Jerry doesn't screw it up, man. I'm hoping he doesn't screw it up. Hoping he doesn't mess it up for you guys, right? So, we'll see what Jerry's got up his sleeve. But they're drafting at number 12, the Cowboys are, and they're going to have a chance to draft a good player. You think the Cowboys could move up, Fallen? I definitely think they could maybe do that. You know, so once again, guys, welcome to the live chat. I'm going to go through each one of these teams, 1 through 32, and go for like 3 possibilities of where they could go. Yeah, Andrew, I definitely think that Luther Burden's going a little bit under the radar in this draft for whatever reason. It makes no sense to me because in 2023, he put up some serious numbers. Right? I do think that the Titans are going to go Cam Ward. You know, I think that's the way they go. Travis Hunter, Abdul Carter, Cam Ward. They're going to go one of those 3 players. Maybe they trade down if like someone blows them away with a package, right? Yeah, you think Jerry could go down? That could be a scenario too. Definitely could be a scenario. But I definitely think the Titans are going to go quarterback, man. This is a very, very weak quarterback class, to say the least. But Cam Ward is, you know, as solid as they get in this class. Yeah, it depends how far they go down. But if someone's moving up in the first round to get number 12 and they're swapping picks, they better get more than a fourth round pick, man. That's for sure. But Cam Ward was very effective this year, guys. Played 13 games, 4,400 yards, 39 touchdown passes, 7 interceptions. Pretty good ratio, you know. What's my opinion on Brady? Like Tom Brady? Yeah, so I'm going to go Cam Ward here. For sure. And now, the Browns are on the board. For me, I think it's between Travis Hunter and Abdul Carter. But the more I'm reading, like, man, adding Abdul Carter to that D-line in Cleveland could be very, very, very interesting. But, yeah, I don't think they go. Guy like Ted McMillan, that's probably a little bit of a reach at number 2. Brady Cook. I honestly don't know anything about Brady Cook. Yeah, I mean, he's 2,500 yards. I mean, he regressed considerably from 2023. I don't love seeing that. Only threw 11 touchdown passes in 12 games. I don't know, man. He did a pretty good job protecting the football, but I don't know. I honestly don't know enough about Brady Cook to give you my honest opinion. And whenever I don't know a player, I haven't scouted them personally, I'm not going to give my take on him because I don't really know. I'm just going to be 100% honest with you guys. I don't know enough about him to give you an honest opinion. But the Browns, it's between Travis Hunter and Abdul Carter, I think. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of the guys in this draft, they're worth taking a flyer on in the 5th round, 6th round. If you need a quarterback, you want to develop a young guy, there's a lot of them to choose from. So, yeah, I'm going to go Travis Hunter here. I just think that's the pick. And the Giants at 3. For me, Abdul Carter is a possibility. I still think Shedeur Sanders is a real possibility for the Giants. I know a lot of people are ruling it out, but the Giants have sent scouts and GMs to everything Shedeur did this year. Games, pro days, a little bit of everything, right? So it's when you look at the Giants, when you look at the way this team, where they're at right now, I don't know, man. The reports I'm reading today, are they really going to go? Yeah. I know so it makes no sense. So they did all this work on Shedeur Sanders. They sent him to everything, all their games. They were very present in all of his workouts, off season, regular season. For me, it's where do they go now? Where do they go now? But bringing in Jameis Winston, bringing in Russell Wilson, what are they going to do? Bring in Shedeur Sanders to be a bench rider? I just don't see it happening, man. So I'm going Abdul Carter here. I think that's where they're going to go. I would love, Eric, there's nothing I would like more to see Jihad Campbell go to the Eagles. But I don't think there's any way that he goes that far. I don't think so. I think the latest Jihad Campbell goes is number 19 to the Buccaneers. Now, Patriots are up, guys. For me, it's Ted McMillan, Will Campbell, and I don't really like the Morgan Moses 3-year deal, honestly. I thought that's kind of silly. But yeah, the more I look, I think Luther Burden's in play too. I really do. But for me, it's probably going to be Ted McMillan or Will Campbell. And the more stuff I'm hearing, the more it's probably going to be Will Campbell. But if they had the balls, what they would do is go Josh Simmons, man. I think Josh Simmons is the best tackle in this draft class, and I honestly don't think it's really even close. You can't really look at the PFF numbers because he only played in 6 games this year. But I'm telling you, man, if you turn on that tape, the dude's freaking impressive, man. Yeah, Will Campbell, I think Josh Simmons is going to be the better pro. I think Josh Simmons is the best tackle in this draft class. What's up, Jay? Jay! What's going on, buddy? Yeah, I definitely think that the Packers need a wide receiver, man. Dude, I love Jaden Higgins, man. Jaden Higgins is my favorite guy in this draft class. Guys, do me a huge favor. Hit that like button. It does really help get this video out into the YouTube universe, right? Appreciate you guys. I might flip over to the vertical in a little bit just to test that out. Not a lot of people on the horizontal right now for whatever reason. But yeah, I love Josh Simmons, man. If the medicals are good, he's going to go really early, I think. That ACL injury is a little scary, though, at number 4. But, I'm going to go Will Campbell. Because their head coach, Mike Vrabel, came out in the public and said they view Will Campbell as a tackle at the NFL level. So that means they're going to draft him like he's a left tackle. So I'm going Will Campbell to the Patriots at number 4. I think there are the scenarios. Yeah, but they got to trade in front of the Broncos if they trade down, because I think the Broncos are going to love Hampton, man. They're going to love him. So now, Jaguars are on the board. I think the Jaguars could go a lot of places here. I think Ted McMillan's in play here. Mason Graham. I think Walter Nolan, but if they're going to go D-line, they probably go Mason Graham. I even think Mike Green is in play here. Tyler Warren. I think he's definitely in play here for the Jaguars at 5, and a lot of people aren't talking about it, but Trevor Lawrence loves throwing to the tight end. Evan Ingram is gone. He's with the Broncos now. The Jaguars and Liam Cohen, their new offensive-minded head coach, 1,200 freaking yards. Yo, I think the more I think about it, the more I like adding Tyler Warren to this Jaguars offense, right? There's a lot of depth at the D-line spot. So they're drafting at 37 in the next round. They could get a solid D lineman at 37, you know? Yeah, they could go. Yeah, the Cardinals are interesting at 16. They need some picks. I don't know if they move up, though. I don't know who would move up. Do you think the Bengals would move up? I'm not really sure about that, you know? So, Jaguars, I'm going to switch it up here, man. Actually, you know what? Mason Graham's just too good to pass up, man. I'm going to go Mason Graham here. The GM for the Raiders flat out came out and said they really want to draft a running back early in this draft class. Yeah, Colston Loveland will be available for the Cowboys probably at 12. And I think Colston Loveland's going to be just as good or better than Tyler Warren in the pros, man. I really do. You got Ashton Jeanty available at 6. I think a cornerback like Will Campbell is in play for the Raiders as well. And then any of these wide receivers. Ted McMillan's on the board. So the 3 guys, if the board falls like this, guys, Ashton Jeanty, Teteroa McMillan. Yeah, that's kind of where I see it going. Or cornerback. Will Johnson's probably a reach at 6 for the Raiders. But if the board falls like this, I don't see them passing up Jeanty. I think they're just going to do it. Then they're going to pull the plug, man. If Walter Nolan falls to the Eagles, bro, the Eagles are going to run that pick in and dunk it into the end zone, man, straight up. They're going to run it in and dunk it. I don't think that happens. Jets fans, we're up at number 7. You know, Teteroa McMillan fallen. He's in play here. Walter Nolan's in play. Armand Membu is in play as well. You know, they're the guys I'm looking at here. I don't think they're going to go quarterback. I think they're going to let Justin Fields try to figure it out for a little while, guys. But if you're just tuning in, guys, I'm giving 3 potential draft picks at each selection, right? So now we're at number 7. I think Teteroa McMillan, if the board falls like this, is in play. I think Armand Membu is in play for sure. No, Armand Membu's a right tackle all day, man. All day. Yeah, I don't see him moving in the guard. You know? Doesn't say anything about the short arms. I think he could play right tackle. You know? He's got good footwork. You know? Low and explosive out of his stance. Good hip flexibility. You know? Good balance. Got the power. I definitely think he could stick at tackle. 6'3", 314. You kind of want your guards to be a little beefier, in my opinion. You know, and he's only 21. He just freaking turned 21. So he could end up being, at the end of the day, 6'4", 325. And that's perfect for right tackle, man. So, yeah, they're the guys that I think that are in consideration for the Jets at 7. But I think Armand Membu. Tyler Warren is in play for the Jets as well. Tyler Warren's definitely in play for the Jets. So Booker is kind of like one-dimensional. He's like a gap guy. He's big, but he's not super athletic, right? Gray Zabel is great because he could play every position. Like, he's probably more of a center or a guard, like all pro level. Has the potential to be. And then he could swing at tackle in a pinch, right? He's super valuable, right? But I do like, what's his name from Ohio State? Where's he at? Donovan Jackson, yeah. Donovan Jackson was a great guard, and then he moved to left tackle when Simmons got hurt, and he played really, really well. Especially, he really got his stride towards the end of the year. You know, good games against really good pass rushes, man, you know? So, I like Donovan Jackson for the guard position. You know, he's pretty freaking solid. All right, now, Carolina Panthers fans, you're on the board at 8. A lot of people are pretty fixed that the Panthers are going to go defense. But if Tetairoa McMillan falls to number 8, you know, I wasn't really like that impressed by Xavier Legette. Adam Thielen's getting a little bit older, you know what I mean? He's not going to be around much longer. Bringing in a guy like Tet McMillan for the Panthers gives you a true X outside receiver, man. And the best thing I love about Tet McMillan, look at this down here, guys. 29 missed tackles forced. That's third in the nation for wide receivers. That's super freaking impressive, man. Very, very, very impressive. Back-to-back 1,300-yard seasons and playing with pretty mediocre quarterback play, in my opinion. He's definitely in play there, dude. And then the safeties like Malachi Starks, Jody Barron is in play. You know, I don't know if they would go a guy like Mike Green. Maybe. I don't see that really in play there. Maybe. You know, but D-line's in play. Linebackers definitely in play. You know, when you look at them like Jahad Campbell, or a lot of people love Jalen Walker. I'm not the biggest fan of Jalen Walker, but it seems like the Panthers are. You know, they're willing to risk it in his coverage and run defense, or lack thereof, and, you know, trust his ability to get to the pass rusher, especially like on third down, you know. So, appreciate you guys tuning into the live stream. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, guys. It really does help us get out in that YouTube universe. Yeah, Tet McMillan could be really interesting there. You know? Yeah, Eric, it really depends on how the board falls, right? I don't really think there's a lot of a difference of the guys you'd be picking at number 20 and then at 32. I don't think there's that much of a difference where, like, I need to give up a asset to go get a guy like that. I think the Eagles stick and pick. Unless Walter Nolan maybe falls to like the mid-20s. I don't know. I think the Eagles stick and pick. I think that's what they're going to do. Yeah, Panthers fans, edge, D-back, you know, I think Malachi Starks could be really interesting for the Panthers as well. But is the safety going to go this high? I doubt it. I doubt it. The Panthers are in a really weird spot. You know what? I'm doing it. I'm going Tet McMillan. Let's build on Bryce Young's really good year last year, man. If you give him Tet McMillan, he's going to be even better. Then you got Tet McMillan, Xavier Legette, put Adam Thielen in the slot. That looks pretty damn good to me, man. That looks pretty dang good to me. Now, Saints fans, you're on the board here at number 9. For me, Walter Nolan is in play for New Orleans 100%. Malachi Starks is probably in play there. Wide receiver is definitely in play. Luther Burden to the Saints could make a lot of sense. You know, Chris Olave with all those concussions, you know, Luther Burden could really, really look good in a Saints uniform opposite Chris Olave, who you can't really depend on anymore. Yeah, Walter Nolan, you know, is best player available. And, you know, are the Saints, they did draft Spencer Rattler last year. Are they willing to give up on him this early? I don't know, man. With Walter Nolan sitting there, I think the Saints might go best player available. and that's Walter Nolan. We can really mix it up here, guys. You know, I feel like a lot of teams, for whatever reason, are like souring on Shedeur Sanders, even though I think he'll be all right at the NFL level. But the Saints are definitely in play for Shedeur Sanders there. I just don't know if the value makes sense. I think Walter Nolan could make a lot of sense there. Now, Bears fans, you're on the board at 10. Yeah, I don't know, man. I think the Bears are in play for Omarion Hampton at 10. I really do. You know, they could add another edge rusher like Mike Green. That could be interesting for the Bears. You know? I think Mike Green to the Cowboys could make sense too. I think I like Sanders more than Dart. Yeah, the Bears are definitely in play right now for Omarion Hampton. You know? Here's the trends right now. Broncos, Bears, Commanders. Yo, I love him, dude. I love Omarion Hampton. He's explosive. Very good pass protector. He's a true 3-down back, you know? He's got good hands. I don't know if Ben Johnson kind of wants to have like a bell cow 3-down back, or does he want to like do a tandem backfield like they did in Detroit with Sonic and Knuckles. I think 21, you know. Then, if the Steelers pass on him, I did read reports today, guys, that the Steelers didn't have the best meetings with Shedeur Sanders. I mean, these reports you got to take with a grain of salt, but he could fall to the late first round and then have a team like the Browns. I love the scenario where the Browns move up to like 25, draft Shedeur Sanders, and then you have Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders on the Browns. That could be cool, man. Yeah, I definitely think Tyler Warren is in play for the Bears too, man. They could really use the upgrade at the tight end position, and putting an excellent tight end in that Bears offense, a true dynamic playmaker on offense, makes a lot of sense, dude. Eric, I definitely think, yeah, you know what? Because I think they could get a really good running back in the second round, the Bears can. They're not going to get a true tight end talent like Tyler Warren in the second round. So I think Tyler Warren, that's my pick here at 10, guys. That makes a lot of sense because what's his name? Cole Kmet. He's just not the playmaker you need for the Bears. And Tyler Warren, you could split him out. You can put him in the in line. You can put him anywhere, you know. Now, 49ers fans, you're on the board at 11. Yeah, I think cornerback is in play too. I think Will Johnson's in play. D-line is in play for sure. You know, Mike Green to San Francisco definitely makes some sense. But I don't know, you know, does he fit that scheme? I'm not sure. Yeah, I mean, people are definitely 50-50 on Shedeur Sanders for sure. I love Trevion Henderson, man. He's a great blocker. He's super explosive. You know, what's not to like about Trevion Henderson, man? It'll be interesting to see how these NFL teams value the running back position, guys, especially after Saquon Barkley going to Philly just changed everything. So they might be more in play than in years past early. But I think Will Johnson's definitely in play for San Francisco. He's just such a talented guy. You know, San Francisco makes a lot of sense. They could go edge rusher, you know. But there's not a lot of scheme-specific guys. Mike Green's a little bit bigger, you know, 6'4", 248. I think he was a little bigger than that at the Combine. Probably more of a 3-4 guy. I think San Francisco runs a 4-3, right? Yeah, do they go safety here? Yeah, I don't know if that's like their biggest need. But Malachi Starks, he's a great player. I just don't think NFL teams value safeties like going this early in the draft, man. Johnny Barron's interesting because he could play anywhere. You know, Johnny Barron is like could be a slot guy. He could be an outside corner. He could be a safety. So that can make some sense there. But, man, they need pass rush help desperately. Kenneth Grant to the 49ers makes some sense, maybe. Not a lot of guys, at this draft slot. Nick Scorton to the 49ers makes some sense, but I don't know. It's kind of a bit of a reach. So, yeah, I'm going to go Jahdae Barron. The 49ers are a complete wild card, man. The 49ers guys could really go anywhere, man. Absolutely anywhere, so. Well, yeah, I definitely think over the last 5 years, Eric, teams are valuing the slot a lot more because the majority of snaps are in nickel now, right? Whether they're covering a tight end in the slot or a true slot wide receiver, a lot of formations are out of nickel now, right? Yeah, Cowboys are up. Omarion Hampton makes a lot of sense. Even Mike Green could make some sense to the Cowboys, guys. It depends. Mike Green's a little bit smaller, just like Micah Parsons is. So they might not want Mike Green because they don't want two 245-pound guys on the edges of that 4-3 scheme. So I don't think that makes sense. Will Johnson is interesting too to the Cowboys because remember, Deron Bland's in a contract year. Trayvon Diggs is dealing with that injury. So they're very thin, at those positions. Donovan Ezeraku, he's in that 245 range too. I don't think he makes sense to the Cowboys. So, but the receivers make some sense. Luther Burden, Emeka Egbuka, and Matthew Golden all make sense at the wide receiver position for the Cowboys, guys. Every one of those guys, they need another pass catcher, right? Because they missed. Honestly, I think Colston Loveland's in play too. If they went crazy and drafted Colston Loveland to the Cowboys at 12, I wouldn't be surprised at all. Jake Ferguson is cooked. They have 3 or 4 tight ends on their roster. All their contracts are up. So don't be surprised, Cowboys fans, if they go Colston Loveland or Will Johnson, I like Jaden Higgins, Eric, more than all of those guys. Jaden Higgins is my favorite wide receiver in this draft class. 90 overall grade, and he's got the best hands in the draft. 2 drops in 129 targets. He's got the best hands in this draft. And I honestly don't think it's that close. He doesn't play as physical as I would like at his size, 6'4", 215. That's the only reason why I think teams are going to be a little hesitant to draft him over a guy like Teterow and McMillan. Because, the physicality is not there. He can run all the routes on the tree, but you could tell by he only forced 12 missed tackles. There's not a lot of physicality there. So that's concerning for me. I think the Packers could be in play for him. I want to see Jaden Higgins be a little more physical, But, for me, I think getting a true wide receiver to the Cowboys is their biggest need. I like Luther Burden, 5'11", 208, but the biggest of the bunch of these guys that can be slot/outside is Emeka Egbuka, actually, at 6'1", 205. Emeka Egbuka and CeeDee Lamb together on the field at one time is very, very, very dangerous. So I'm going Emeka Egbuka for the Cowboys at 12 because they say he is the most professional wide receiver in this draft class, and he's got the highest floor. Cowboys need a hit on this draft pick. Emeka Egbuka goes to the Cowboys at 12. Now, Dolphins fans, they could go safety. Their safeties are trash. They could go cornerback. Their cornerback room, not good. But with Jalen Ramsey on the trade block, I wouldn't be surprised if they trade him during this draft to somebody, 3rd round, something like that, and they're going to go Will Johnson. They need a cornerback. Yeah, I did a round 1 mock draft, but I think I'm going to do a final 2-round mock draft tomorrow. Caval, I think I'm going to I got some time tomorrow to make some videos. I'm going to do a couple team-friendly ones that I want to address before the draft, but that's the way I'm going to rock and roll. I think I'm going to do a 2-round with some trades tomorrow. Yeah, I think Loveland to the Colts makes a lot of sense. You see, like, everyone wants the Cowboys to draft a running back early, but dude, they can get a really good running back like Trevion Henderson or Judkins in round 2. Like, there's not going to be an Emeka Ibuka at 44 overall, man. They're just not. He's just not going to last that long. So I'd rather get like Emeka Ibuka and Trevion Henderson than get Amarion Hampton and like some, Eric Iomanor or one of those wide receivers. That's just my personal preference, Yeah, the Colts are another wild card team, Eric, for sure. I think they could go anywhere. I mean, look at all these needs. Tight end, guard, edge defender, linebacker, safety. I think they need a center too, right? Like, they can just go anywhere. But Shane Steichen needs a freaking pass-catching tight end in that room. They're going to go Colston Loveland, I think. And then Falcons, you're up. They need pass rush help so bad. It's like your preference. If they don't like the character stuff with Mike Green, maybe Donovan Ezeraku could make some sense. Set a nice edge there. The Falcons could go, if they went Luther Burden, I wouldn't be surprised about that either. He makes some sense. Yeah, maybe James Pierce. Maybe. I think the Falcons can go a lot of different places. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't think at 44, man. I think you're really risking it. I think early in the second round, there's going to be a run on wide receivers, right? Like, take a look at the wide receivers left in my draft. We got Burden, Golden, Alec Iomanor, and Jaden Higgins. Betch, I'm not a big fan of. Royals, I do like him, but they're just not on the level of Emeka Ibuka. But if you look at this running back room, let's just look at running backs left, right? Hampton, Scadaboo, Dylan Sampson, Caleb Johnson, Trevion Henderson, Quinshon Judkins, all those guys are really, really, really talented, man. I love Cam Scadaboo, man. I think people are like really, really sleeping on Cam Scadaboo. But the Falcons, guys, I think they're going to go Mike Green, right? They got to get some pass rush help. The Cardinals up at 16, they're really interesting, right? I think cornerback is definitely in play. I think a guy like Kenneth Grant is in play too. Josh Simmons maybe. Just make this offensive line so much better. Yeah, I think Kenneth Grant is in play. Overall, yeah, he's a pretty damn good player, man. Yeah, I definitely think he's in play. Malachi Starks is still hanging around too. Jahad Campbell, Luther Burden. They could add another wide receiver, right? I wouldn't be shocked at all if the Arizona Cardinals added a wide receiver. If you take a look at this wide receiver room here, guys. Let me do this. I'm going to bring up this Arizona Cardinals roster just to show you guys. I think that wide receiver definitely in play here, right? We take a look. We got Marvin Harrison Jr. Greg Dortch has not been good. Straight up. 5'7", 175. Come on. And then the other guy is Michael Wilson. Another guy I'm just not impressed with. They need another wide receiver desperately. And I'm going to give them a wide receiver here at 16 and surprise everybody. I think they could really do it. I think they could definitely go wide receiver here. And I'm going to give them Matthew Golden to the Arizona Cardinals at 16. Well, yeah, and like Scadaboo's got really good hands, man. He's a really good route runner. I like Cam Scadaboo, man. I think Cam Scadaboo has got a lot of potential, man. A lot of potential, guys. Now, Bengals fans, you're on the board. Malachi Starks is on the board. Jihad Campbell's on the board. Donovan Ezeraku. All these guys are in play for the Bengals, man. Ezeraku, definitely. But I want to go Jihad Campbell here. I think that makes a ton of sense because they need a general in the middle of that defense. Now, Seattle's on the board. Another team. Could go wide receiver. Could go safety. Could go edge. Seattle, Donovan Ezeraku. You know, they got a defensive-minded head coach and Mike Macdonald. Yeah, that could make some sense. Build up this defense and then draft an offensive lineman in the second round. I'm going to do that. Donovan Ezeraku goes to Seattle, right? I think that's a really interesting spot for them. Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm going to give you guys 3 guys that I think are interesting here. One is Malachi Starks, 100%. I think they had some trouble at safety last year. They could go corner as well. A guy like Trey Amos, definitely in play here. Definitely in play here, guys. Definitely in play I definitely think he's in play for the Buccaneers. And then Jalen Walker. Another guy I definitely think is in play for the Buccaneers. I think he's definitely in play here. Everyone thinks that he's going to go early to number. I think that would be a very, very irresponsible pick at number 8 for the Panthers. But at 19, you could stomach the risk a little bit, you know? So I think they need some D-back help. I think Malachi Starks, I think his fall stops here at 19. I like that spot. You know, I definitely think that's the way to go. We're going to go Malachi Starks here. No, I don't think Zabel's a reach at all, Eric. I don't think he's a reach at all. But I don't know what this team is going to value. The Seahawks they always need offensive linemen and they never draft them. So, I don't know. All right, now, Broncos fans, up at number 20. I think Luther Burden is in play. I think a guy like Kenneth Grant could be in play to the Broncos as well. That could be interesting. Kelvin Banks, James Pierce, Jalen Walker, you know. Omarion Hampton's on the board here. You know, there's not really any defensive linemen that I'm loving that I think they would take. Maybe Shamar Stewart. He could be a beast mode for the Broncos. That could be interesting. But with Omarion Hampton on the board here, you got to go Omarion Hampton, right? Yeah, I think Omarion Hampton, if he's available. Yeah, I think Luther Burden could go to the Broncos absolutely. Fallen 100%. I think he's definitely in play there for sure. Now, Pittsburgh Steelers fans, you know, I'm doing it. I heard reports that their meeting didn't go great, but that could be some smoke and mirrors. So I'm going to go Shedeur Sanders. But other guys that could be interesting for them at 21, even Kelvin Banks would be interesting to them. James Pierce Jr. could be interesting for them. Jalen Walker, he keeps falling. He falls a lot in my mock drafts. Trey Amos to the Steelers makes a lot of sense. They need cornerback help really, really, really bad. But I do think Shedeur Sanders is going to, if he's available, especially with no Aaron Rodgers there, I'm going to go Shedeur. Now, they need, the Chargers need wide receiver help so bad. If the tight ends are off the board, Luther Burden makes a lot of sense. Could a guy like Kenneth Grant go back to the old Michigan coach? That could be interesting there too. He's very familiar with Kenneth Grant, but Luther Burden's too good to pass up. He's too good. Now, Packers fans, you're on the board at 23. Yeah, I've read a lot of reports about the off-the-field issues. He seems like he's pretty immature, right? So, we'll have to see. But, man, the Packers, I think James Pierce Jr. could be really interesting. So would Jalen Walker, because he's probably going to be more of an edge. But yeah, if James Pierce Jr. is on the board here, that can make some sense for the Packers. Trey Amos could make some sense for the Packers as well. Nick Scorton, he can make some sense for the Packers. Josh Simmons could make some sense. They could go anywhere with the way this board played out. But I'm going to go James Pierce Jr. That makes a lot of sense. Get another edge rusher there, guys. I don't think they do that, Redneck Ghost. I don't think they trade out. They need a left tackle so freaking bad, man. Yeah, I think Jaden Higgins is definitely in play there. But if James Pierce Jr., he's so athletic, man. And, he has so much potential to be great. If he could grow up a little bit, he's only 21. He's got some maturity issues. But, man, if he grows up, he could be a gangster. The Vikings are always such a wild card for me, man. Who knows where the hell they could go? Yeah, Kenneth Grant, I think if he's on the board, he probably makes the most sense. I think Josh Simmons is in play too. Jalen Walker could be in play. Trey Amos could be in play to the Vikings for sure. But if the board plays out like this, I'm going to go Kenneth Grant to the Vikings at 24. Now, Texans fans, you're on the board. You don't think Josh Simmons is a first-round tackle, dude? You're out of your mind, Redneck Ghost. You got to go watch that tape, bro. Bro, you got to go watch that tape. Josh Simmons is a freak show, man. If the medicals are good, which we're not privy to, right? Josh Simmons is the best left tackle in this draft class, guys, by a country mile. And it's not even close. He's really sticky. He's got good recovery speed, good hand usage, strong, really sticky guy, can move people around. If the medicals are good and Josh Simmons is on the board, the Texans take him 10 out of 10 times. Yeah, Redneck Ghost, you're not wrong. Yeah, Dre Tucker, I like Gray Zabel, man. I love myself some Gray Zabel. I love it. I love it. All right. What do we do with the Raiders, guys? Let me know in the description down below. What would you do with the Raiders? I mean, the Rams. Sorry, the Rams. So I'm going to go check out this Rams team and their base defense. Yeah, they're definitely struggle at the cornerback position, right? They're okay at the tackle position. I don't think that's a pressing need. I would go corner here, man. 10 out of 10 times I'm going corner for the Rams. What corner, right? Yeah, I think the Rams are okay line-wise. I think they're okay. Offensive line-wise. They just brought back Alaric Jackson. They re-signed him. He had a really damn good year last year, right? And then on the right side, they got Haverstein. He's 33, though. But he's been very, 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 very good for a really long time. So if they drafted, an heir apparent to him at right tackle, that could be, I wouldn't hate them for doing that. Guy like Josh Connerly Jr., Kelvin Banks, something like that. But I think they're going to go corner. I think from the reports I'm reading, they really like Maxwell Harrison, but with Trey Amos or Ben Morrison on the board, they're just so much better. And Revel's really good too, but he's coming off of that devastating knee injury. I'm going Trey Amos to the Rams at 26. But, the Rams taking him, with the 5 years of control you get from a first-round pick, makes some sense, actually, right? If they took Jackson Dart there, I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, Revel's got big upside, Dre. I agree with you 100%, man. Yeah, Trey Amos and Ben Morrison's more like press man guy, but Trey Amos is so good, Now, Ravens fans, you're on the board at 27. Jalen Walker's on the board here. I don't think they could pass that up. Take a look at this Ravens defense here, guys. They could use another outside linebacker type. And, Jalen Walker can play off-ball linebacker too. And Kyle Van Noy is super old. He's 35. Yeah, if Jalen Walker's on the board here, the Ravens are going to go there, man. I'm telling you. Yeah, I think the Cowboys definitely have a big need at cornerback. With DaRon Bland being in a contract year, Diggs coming off that injury, they need some depth there for sure. All right, now Lions fans, you're up at 28. I think they go Gray Zabel. They have big holes in that offensive line, right? If you take a look at the Detroit Lions, Zeitler they got Graham Glasgow. He's 33, up and down guy, And then they got on the other side, Christian Mahogany, 6th-round pick. He played good, but he only played 142 snaps. They need guard help. And Gray Zabel can play either one of those positions. So why would you not boost that offensive line? That makes a ton of sense there for me, guys. I think their offensive line sucks, Fallen. I'm going to be just completely honest. I don't like Tyler Guyton. I'm not a big fan. I wasn't a big fan. If you watched my draft content last year, guys, I was not a big fan. All right, Commanders, you're up at 29 overall. Nick Scorton's on the board here. Shamar Stewart on the board here. That could be really interesting for Washington. Yeah, I'm going to go Shamar Stewart. There's going to be a run on these edge defenders. Now, Buffalo's on the board here at 30. I think they could go cornerback here at Buffalo. I'm going to go Ben Morrison to the Bills at 30 overall. But some other guys that are in play. Scorton's in play for sure if they want to go on the edge. But Ben Morrison is so good. Yeah, I mean, the Lions could definitely go defensive line, add another pass rusher to go with Aiden Hutchinson. But, man, they got a big hole at guard there. They got two very inexperienced guards. And the way that offense works, it functions the best with really good guard play. So I think Zabel is the pick. They could go get an edge rusher in round 2. Yeah, it's hard to evaluate Mykel Williams because he played through a lot of injuries, you know what I mean? So, yeah, I'm going to go Ben Morrison to the Bills. Chiefs are going to go Kelvin Banks, 6'4", 320. Connerly's a little smaller-ish, 6'4", 315. They probably go Kelvin Banks here, I would assume. Yeah, he's a monster, though. I think they go Kelvin Banks here. They need a tackle so bad. And then the Eagles are up at 32 overall. A lot of guys to choose from. They could go anywhere. Scorton on the board makes some sense to the Birds. They could use another, outside linebacker who's a little bigger to set the edge on the strong side. And he's not even 21 yet. Yeah, Nick Emmanwori, like the Eagles have never drafted a safety in round 1, and I just don't see Howie Roseman with a guy like Nick Scorton on the board. There's just no way Howie's going to draft a safety. Could the Eagles move up in the second round if Emmanwori falls to like 45-ish, 43-ish? That could definitely happen. But if Scorton's on the board, he's going to the Birds. And they just brought back Cam Jurgens on a 4-year extension. Yeah, Zachariah Johnson, I agree. I think Landon Johnson is a late second round, early third round talent, in my opinion, right? All right, there it is, guys. There's our mock draft. I like it. Cam Ward, number 1. Ted McMillan goes 8. Genty goes 6. Ibuka goes to the Cowboys. Loveland goes to the Colts. Shedeur goes to the Steelers. Omarion goes to the Broncos. Malachi Starks goes to the Buccaneers. Zabel, guys, goes to... Where does Zabel go? I lost my spot. Where am I? Oh, yeah, to the Lions. I love that pick for the Lions. Ben Morrison to the Bills. But I think Josh Simmons at 25 is going to be the steal of the draft. Yeah, I mean, I think he's going to take best player available. Howie likes the Georgia guys, but, I don't know. Michael Williams has a ton of injury history, right? Do you want to deal with a guy who's been dealing with and playing through injuries in college? Because usually the guys that get hurt a lot in college get hurt a lot in the pros. Yeah, I think it came down to value for me with Donovan Ezeraku. I think he was just too good to pass up. Let's take a look at the Seahawks roster, break them down a little bit, right? Go to this base defense. They got Mafe, who's good, but who's going to play opposite him? They got Lawrence in there now. And then Knight and like the linebacker room could definitely use a little bit of an upgrade, I don't know who's going to start out, I like Mafe, but DeMarcus Lawrence is, 33. And he played like crap last year because he was coming off of those injuries. But there it is, guys. That's my live mock. I'm out for today. Thank you guys so much for all the support. You guys are the freaking best. I will catch you guys later this week. Thank you so much. Yeah, I would trade down, Eric. Thank you guys for tuning in. Appreciate you guys. We'll catch you on the next stream. And I'm going to do a live stream all day long for the draft. So we'll get into that. Thanks so much, Eric, Fallen. I really appreciate you guys, Zachariah, Dre.